West Wednesday 647, Justice for Tyrone West and Justice for All Victims of Police Brutality. Tawanda, it's all you.
Yeah, so tonight, guys, we don't have any special guests because I elected not to. I wanted to dedicate this show on behalf of a warrior brother that was in the movement, fighting nonstop, continuously, peacefully, respectfully. And I'll tell you all about our brother when we return from watching the video that we share with you guys every week when we're online. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No,
why would you do that? Why would you do
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, Sid, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get that.
To profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Hold on a second, sir. Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Dad, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What are you call the supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Mic check.
Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And again, I apologize that we don't have any special guests. But tonight, I just wanted to honor our warrior brother, Kwame. And he was a person that always fought for accountability. And like, he was just the justice king. You know, and for me to learn that he passed away so sudden, it just really broke my heart. And it always breaks my heart, especially if you think about near the holidays and just anytime. So I remember him coming on West Wednesday, he had a book out and everything, and just meeting him in person and seeing him, do marvelous things in the community. It's like heartbreaking to have take a tragic loss like that. And it brought me to the conversation in which I want to share tonight. We need to stop taking each other for granted in this movement. Because as we noticed this year, early on this year, and as we get ready to close out, we started off this year with the warrior queen, Nicole Pettiford, who just suddenly passed away. Just like that. Just like that, with a blink of an eye. So with me thinking about that, I just feel like if anybody have any petty gripes or everything, it's time to break that, because life is too short. And where we think we got all the time in the world, we don't know. We're all on borrowed time. We don't know how much of time that we have. And I just wanted to let y'all know, like, we have to take this thing seriously. Like, police brutality is real. I woke up this morning, I'm looking on the news, and what did I see? Lord beholds that there is, on the news, they're talking about, the police had shot this vehicle that had two people in it. And the last I know, one of the driver pretty much was, took into the hospital. They didn't pass or nothing like that, but I don't know what happened after that. And I know that they said they took the person in the car down that was in the vehicle with them. They took them down for questioning or whatever. And it's just sad and disgusting, like talking about, the person was trying to ride the officers over and all this foolishness. But this is a lot. Then for me to hear that literally, as I peeked into the West Coalition's group that we're in, I see that an elderly lady was literally hit by police officers down by Lexington Market. Like, this is like, when is it going to stop? Like, when is it going to stop? But at the end of the day, we have to love up on each other, love each other while we still got each other, because you just never know when something is going to happen, and just do the best that we can do in these hard times, sad times. But it's just, it's sad. It's a lot. So it's a lot to process. So I'm just keeping the families in prayers, and anybody that need a prayer right now, definitely keeping you guys in prayer. And I just wanted to say, Uncle Bill, do you want to add anything to the conversation? Mic check.
Well, I know that Kwame Shakur did important work and was dedicated, but I don't personally know him well, and I'm not intimately familiar with his work. So I really can't, unfortunately, I can't add much to that, to understanding the loss that we've had.
No, definitely not even just to speak upon our brother that we lost, which was a tragic loss, but just in general about us taking care of each other in this movement. How do you feel about that?
Oh,
like that.
Oh, yeah, that's very important. That's very important. If workers go on strike and a worker at that facility decides they're not going to honor the strike, they're going to cross the picket line and go into work, that person is not looking out for the others. They're looking out for themselves, and they have a name. It's a negative name that's called a scab. So right now we have the strike going on by the workers for the coffee company. The name just slipped me. What's that company?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part?
Yeah, the big coffee chain of coffee shops is on strike now.
Oh, wow.
I forgot the name. It just slipped my mind. But at any rate, if the workers at
Starbucks?
one of the sites are out there, thank you, Starbucks. Thank you, Kalia. So they're giving up their pay. They're risking getting in trouble on the job or perhaps getting fired for the union activism. And it's a very high level of sticking together and having each other's back. So yeah, that point about in the movement supporting one another is very true. Very true. It's important. It's the only way we can win.
Exactly. And it's no I inside of we. You know, this is our fight, even though we all fight, you know, we got everything that's on the line, like in different backgrounds, beliefs, and things like that. But one thing we can all agree with, that nobody deserves to be brutally murdered, attacked. Everybody deserves the pursuit of happiness, you know? And we had a real powerful show last week. A big shout out again to my warrior brothers that was on here, Malcolm and Mr. James. You know, they shared with us and everything, and they let us come into their personal space, and I really had appreciated them for that, you know, and, you know, fighting for accountability, because at the end of the day, Sonia Massey should be here, you know?
That's right.
And our brother Cello should be here. Like his parole and probation officer just pulls up at his girlfriend's house claiming that he's doing a safety check at someone else's house. Like, it wasn't like Cello was chilling at his own house or whatever. And then the fact that he was about to be released off of parole and probation within a 2-week span is utterly, morally disrespectful, disgusting, and heartbreaking. So again, these are the reasons why we fight, and these are the reasons why we fight so hard. We're not going to stop until we get accountability. And the upcoming week, because I know as we approach the holidays and things like that, and stuff, you know, it's a lot going on. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to let everybody know that we're going to keep on fighting. And next week, I have a real powerful show put together, and you know, and I'm not going to tell you everything what's going on until it actually happens, but we do have few guests that I definitely want you guys to you know, check out and things like that. And we're just going to move forward with this fight and struggle, because it's our struggle. And then to learn tonight that literally we have all these names on the SAD list, over 30 something names, and literally we have like the youngest is maybe like 17, a teenager, and then someone like 75. Like, just imagine you live your life almost 75 years. 75 years, guys. And you know, survive all the ailments that come with old age and all that. And then you literally get right there, and then and a cop kill you. And another thing that I want to talk about, and I can kind of share tonight, because it was one of the ladies that we had read her name on our SAD list like a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago. But literally, it was an elderly woman. I think she was like 75 years old. She was in her 70s. I know that for sure. But this woman was brutally murdered. Like, I'm talking about thrown and had head injuries and handcuffs and everything. And I was supposed to literally have her family member or the member of this coalition that's pushing accountability. So they will be joining us next week. They will be joining us. And then with another powerful brother from out in Ferguson that's boots on the ground. So I will bring all that to you guys next week before we, you know, break off into our holiday mode. But the struggle is real. At the end of the day, it doesn't stop. And we're not going to stop either. We're fighting peacefully, respectfully, and it's just heartbreaking and it's devastating when you have to see repeatedly. And in my mind, when my brother was executed, you know, I'm thinking like, okay, well, hopefully this eases up. You know, nobody else is going to have to feel this type of pain. And Lord knows, you know, that it did not stop. It got worse. And I'm in my mind like, how does something get worse when it's already bad. You know, you got to make that make sense, and it doesn't. But it's bad and it's crucial and it's critical that we keep on doing the things that we're doing, standing in solidarity with each other, supporting. Because again, at the end of the day, we just never know when it's our last moment. And one thing about history, it's his story. Let's break it down. His story. What will your story say about your life? The type of person you are as you had the joys and pleasures of waking up and living a life, whether it was one that was a struggle, whatever the case may be. But what will your life say after you are gone? Will it speak in volumes and say, oh my goodness, he or she was amazing, they helped out, or oh my goodness, they didn't do anything to help, do nothing, And we definitely don't want to ever have that to happen. So with that being said, we just got to keep up on our P's and Q's and just live to love, like I say, and love to live and love up on one another. Because life is too short. I don't care how long you are blessed to be on earth. To me, that's not long enough. That's not long enough. It's not long enough. You can live to be 110 years old. That to me is not long enough. So with that being said, I wanted to check in real quick to see if anybody else on here wants to add, and two, before we check to see the questions and the comments until we go to our very long said police brutality list and community violences. It's just said like this is like the stuff that we see nowadays. They're making it seem like this is normal stuff where it's okay for people to just get murdered the way they get murdered, like snatched away, gone. That's not normal, guys. We should not make this stuff like register in our brain and in our soul and in our mind and in our spirit that this is okay, because it is not. On no way, shape, fashion, form that it's okay. It is totally not okay.
Tawanda,
Totally not okay.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I didn't mean to speak over you. A story came to mind about a personal experience which deals with the need to stick together. Would you like me to share that?
Sure, please do.
Okay, so when I was going to the community college on Liberty Heights Avenue, I had a part-time job on Arcontrolli next to Druid Hill Park, and it was a factory called HB Furniture. So those of us who worked there put together these decorative sort of bars for people's club basements, and they had like bar stools and a counter with some soft material at the front you could lean on, and they had a light panel, some of them that would change to the music. So the job was very difficult. We worked with chipboard, and when you cut the chipboard, the glue that holds the pieces together vaporizes, and so our eyes would sting all day long. They had ventilator fans to suck out the air with that glue in the air, but every single one of those fans was broken. And the company didn't care, that it was unhealthy and really difficult to work there. It's the only job I ever worked on where in the bathroom, the discussion was not about the current sports season. The discussion was, how do we kill the boss? I mean, that's how angry all the workers were about the conditions there. And we were getting minimum wage. So I'm going to date myself now. I was getting $1.65 an hour. So one day, the boss comes to me and says, we're firing you. I guess I just wasn't working fast enough. And they took advantage of unemployment. In those days, they would put an ad in the paper that they needed workers. The next morning, 20 people or more would be lined up outside desperate for work. And so they would hire and fire until they got a workforce that was willing to work like lightning, almost like slaves. So when I got fired, I stood up on the one of the pieces of equipment, and I threw my keys at the boss's feet, and I said, we need a union in this place to make our work more tolerable and earn higher pay. So later on, a few of the workers, right before I left, came over to me and said, look, can you meet us in the lounge down the street after work? So I went to the lounge, and I was a white worker, and the guys that invited me were all black workers, and they told me a story, which was that 5 years earlier, they had gone on strike trying to get a union. so they could get the ventilators fixed, they could get the pay increase, they could make the job,
Right.
not so horrible.
Right.
And they said the problem was when you go on strike, if you want to win, you got to shut the place down so they're not making any profit and they feel compelled to give in to some of your demands. But when they went on strike, none of the white workers would join them. Only the black workers went on strike for a long strike, I think about 11 months, but they couldn't win. They didn't get union recognition and they didn't win any of the particular demands. So I learned a valuable lesson there that here I was, a white worker, and the job was terrible. And had there been no racism and had those white workers 5 years earlier joined together with their black brothers and sisters on the job, it would have had results that would have been much better for me. And to me, it's a good illustration of the fact that racism hurts white working class people too. And it's very important that we overcome racism and all stick together. So
Absolutely.
that's what that story is about.
And that was a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's so true and so important, So true and so important. So thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. So with that being said, I guess we can go and check to see if we have any questions or comments at this moment. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Starting off with the comments. Comment from Baby Girl, Peace brothers and sisters. AC Brit said mic check. Maine said mic check. AC Brit said rest in power. Kwame Che Shakur. He fought for prison reforms, against police brutality, and for missing persons. He was also trying to reestablish the Rainbow Coalition. AC Brit also said, yeah, they shot him up by Division Street, and then today ran an elderly lady over across from Lexington Market, talking about Baltimore City Police. Ben Kesson said insanity. Linda commented, sad to hear about Kwame, had been in a lot of the same spaces. And Ben Kesson said, what do you think it will take to push everyday people into action beyond recognizing police brutality? Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And those are excellent questions and comments, and I'm glad my sister Dina really shared like the nature and the work of Kwame. Yeah, like fighting for missing people and just doing a wonderful, amazing, awesome job in the community. And it's just sad, and like you can just see somebody and then just like seeing his posts and reading all his stuff and just seeing that he's okay, and then literally I go on there and I'm in shock. And I see that and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So we need to not take nothing or no one for granted. And I'll say that again, take nothing or no one for granted. So with that being said, just for time's sake, we have such a long list tonight. We're gonna go into the long list in a few minutes, but I just wanted to see if anybody else wanted to say anything before we actually go into the before I read out our mission statement and then followed up by our sad list. Mic check.
Mic check. We do have Brian on. He commented that we have a community violence list.
To Wanda, there was a question among the comments by Ben Kesson, and he said, Clea read it a moment ago, but I just want to repeat.
Yes.
What do you think it will take to push everyday people into action beyond recognizing police brutality? So would you like to say a word about that?
So I mean, just doing what we doing, boots on the ground, constantly fighting, never ever easing up, and just doing it. Just going like literally, just constantly fighting, spreading awareness. You know what I mean, and just doing what we can do humanly possible to secure the fact that nobody should have to go through this type of pain or tragedy. And do anything you want to add, Uncle Bill, to that?
Yeah, I think that in the community or on the job, or for those brothers and sisters who are in the military, I think anytime we see an injustice, and in particular, anytime we see racism, we should try to get a few people together and take a stand against it. And usually folks respect that. And quite a few will join in if they see us determined, if they see us with a likelihood of winning, and if they see us doing what they believe is right. So I think don't let things slip. You see something wrong, take a stand and get a few people to join you, and it often snowballs and becomes powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Awesome. So I want to check back in, Claire. Do we have any more questions or comments before I go into our statement? And then, yeah, like that.
Mic check. No new questions or comments. I wasn't sure if everyone heard. Brian did comment to us that we have a community violence list. Oh, AC Britt just commented, people get lulled back into complacency, or got lulled back into complacency in the last 5 years. And then Ben Keston responded 100%.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. And thanks everybody for the feedback and everything. And just thank y'all for your time, your energy, and all that wonderful, amazing stuff. So with that being said, especially since we have my brother Brian on here as well with his sad list, I would like for us to just literally kind of just go into it. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm just gonna say our statement and best as I can because I'm not reading, I'm just trying to remember and I'm just coming straight, from my heart. So it is the mission of the West Coalition to not only fight for accountability for my big brother Tyrone West, but literally to fight for accountability for all the victims of police brutality and murder. We believe in mediation because we believe that if there's any type of problem, the way to solve that problem is you can sit down and come to the table, even if you agree to disagree. Both parties or all parties walk away safely. And that's what we're about. We're about love. And unfortunately, these lists that we get that are both on the national as well as the local level, we have no, knowing, like we don't know any details connected to any of the cases surrounding. All that we know is that someone literally passed away. Well, I'm sorry, that was murdered. And we just care deeply and we're just coming from a place of love and care and respect just to, show families and show everybody that, these people were human beings. They were connected to a family. And as my brother Brian often say, these people that are connected to a family are connected to a community. They're connected to people that really love and care about them. And the thing that we don't realize when someone is murdered, you're not just taking out your target, you're taking out a family. You're taking out people that literally cares about that person, So it's not worth it. That's my whole point. It's not worth it. And I just pray that one day that we can just see that. And it's not the West Coalition. This is me. I just pray that one day that we can just resolve issues. And I can say this on behalf of the West Coalition that we can just resolve issues and walk away peacefully and respectfully and not leave a family sad, heartbroken, or devastated. So with that being said, we're going to take the time now is 7:44. We're going to take 2 minutes. Just if you're into praying, say a prayer. If you're into just nothing but sending positive energy, towards your devices, computer screens, or whatever you're catching us on. The time now, I'm sorry, is 7:45. We're gonna come back at 7:47. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, mic check. I'm handing it over to you guys. Mic check.
Mic check.
And I'll hand it over to Brother Brian first. Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you, Tawanda. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Thank you. So yeah, we have about a dozen names tonight. Some of them go back to November because we haven't done done one of these lists in a while. So as always, I just ask you to echo the names back. We do this in commemoration of their lives, in solidarity with their communities, and in dedication of ourselves to this work. Antoine Burston, 48.
Antoine Burston.
Chloe Weems, 29.
Chloe Weems.
Samson Ladson, 30.
Samson Ladson.
Yasmin Lee, 28.
Yasmin
Lee.
Dante Gladney, 34.
Dante
Gladney.
Erica Power, 42.
Erica Power.
Roy Alexander, 56.
Roy Alexander.
Daquan Parker, 26.
Daquan Parker.
Nathaniel Tarleton, 29.
Nathaniel Carlton.
Chanel Cawthorn, 50.
Chanel Cawthorn.
Michael Hitchens III, 14.
Ooh.
Michael
Hitchens III.
Erica Sterling, 54.
Erica
Sterling.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's an awful sad list. It's all yours, Uncle Bill, and y'all. Mic check.
Khalil, I believe, is first.
Like we stated earlier, this list includes 31 people who've been killed by the police going back to the 1st of December. The youngest that's listed is 17, and the oldest is 75. And I'll be starting off with the first half. On December 1st in Roanoke, Virginia, 28-year-old male, Markeith Bryson Jr.
Marquise Bryson Jr.
Also on the 1st in Cartersville, Georgia, 39-year-old male, Dylan Rice.
Dylan
Grice.
On the 1st in Port St. Lucie, Florida, a 27-year-old male, Frankie Riccio.
Frankie Riccio.
Thank you. Also on the 1st in Bakersfield, California, 58-year-old male, James Peedy. Again on the 1st in Falcon, Arkansas, 40-year-old male, Robert Foster.
Robert Foster.
On the 2nd in Seattle, Washington, 46-year-old male, Christian Nelson.
Christian Nelson.
On the 2nd in St. Augustine, Florida, 43-year-old male, Christopher Johnson.
Christopher Johnson.
Christopher Johnson.
On the 2nd, in Miami, Florida, 21-year-old male, Christopher Barata.
Christopher Barata.
Christopher Barata.
On the 2nd, in Lodi, California, 40-year-old male, Marvin Morales.
Marvin Morales.
Marvin Morales.
On the 3rd, in Omaha, Nebraska, 28-year-old male, Juan Melgar Ayala.
Juan Melgar Ayala.
Ayala.
On the 3rd, in Sterling Heights, Michigan, 54-year-old male, Nicholas Caranta.
Nicholas Caranta.
Nicholas Caranta.
On the 3rd, in Essex, Maryland, 31-year-old male. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, so I apologize. Howard Sy.
Howard Sy.
Howard Sy.
On the 3rd, in Van Nuys, California, 30-year-old male, Joshua Bonilla.
Joshua
Bonilla.
On the 3rd, in Victorville, California, 29-year-old male, Charles Murray.
Charles Murray.
Charles Murray.
On the 4th, in Vicksburg, Mississippi, 17-year-old male, Amarian Thomas.
Amarian
Thomas.
On the 4th, in Louisville, Kentucky, a male whose age is unknown and whose name was withheld by police.
Cell blocks for Killer Cop.
Ashe.
Now pass the second half of the list to Bill.
I do want to point out that this long list of lives taken by the racist police all occurred in a 9-day period, the first 9 days of December. It's horrific. So we start off now in the second half of the list in Sandy Springs, Georgia, 27 years old, Leandre Thomas.
Leandre Thomas.
Leandre Thomas.
In Southgate, California, again on the 4th of this month, a man whose age is unknown and whose name has been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for Killer Cop.
Ashe.
In Grand Forks, North Dakota, moving to the 5th of December, a woman who was 47 years old, Alice Nestal. In Kissimmee, Florida, again on the 5th, a man who was 30 and whose name has been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for Killer Cops.
Ashe. In Manchester, New Hampshire, on the 6th, a man who was 24, McKinley Tureen. In Granite Falls, North Carolina, once more on the 6th, a man who was 48, Scott Siegel.
Scott Siegel.
In Grand Rapids, Michigan, on the 6th again, a man who was 51, Martin Martinez Sr.
Martinez Sr.
In Anaheim, California, once more on the 6th of this month, a man who was just 19, Alberto Arzola.
Alberto
Asola.
In Dixon, oh, excuse me, go ahead. Oh, I thought there was another voice chiming in here. Sorry. In Dixon, California, on the 7th of this month, a man whose age is unknown and whose name has been withheld by the police.
Ashe.
Ashe. In Phoenix, Arizona, on the 7th, this is the case of the man who was 75. All these cases are horrific. In particular, someone who's lived a long life and gets gunned down by the police at that, at that moment of having achieved, a lifetime that just snatched away. Michael Brewer.
Michael Brewer.
Brewer.
In Rosetta, California, on the 8th, 40 years old, Alex Canasales.
Alex Canasales.
Alex Canasales.
In Greenville, South Carolina, on the 9th, a man who was 29, John D.
Michael
Rodriguez.
John D. Rodriguez.
John D. Rodriguez.
In Moreland, Oklahoma, on the 9th again, a man who was 43, Robert Thompson.
Alex Canasales.
Robert Thompson.
Robert Thompson.
In Kingston, Michigan, once again on the 9th, a man who was 54, but whose name has been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe. And the final person whose life and memory we're upholding this evening in Chicago, Illinois, and I hope that they take some steps there to fight for accountability. Once more on the 9th of December, a man who was just 20, Roberto Calvario Jr.
Roberto Calvario Jr.
Back to you, Tawanda. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Awesome. Yeah, so just thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Remember, next week we're gonna have an amazing, powerful show. Remember, live to love to live. I love you all. And stay tuned for that awful video.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Yeah, cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. Rachel, I think we're ready for the second half of the film.
Okay. Actually, if I could maybe speak really quickly, tonight I recognize one of the names on the community violence list.
Go.
Yasmin Lee was my upstairs neighbor. I don't know if you all can hear me. Anyway, when I lived on the east side.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
We both ended up in a building. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and I had no idea that this happened to her. I didn't know that.
Oh wow.
We ended up in like a really shitty apartment building at a time. We were both kind of living on our own at the same time. And yeah, I don't know. I just remember the two of us trying to figure it out a lot together in the same apartment. She was upstairs. She was just really funny, and she was always like visiting her family. She was really sweet. She was very thoughtful. She adopted a dog a little bit after I did. I was just, yeah, I was a little bit caught off guard to hear her name there. And I don't know. I think it's like, as with all of the names, it's like a whole world that gets stolen, like Brian always says. And I think like even just the small part of this world that I got to experience with her was definitely meaningful to me. And I guess, yeah, tonight reflecting a little bit extra on all the lives that were stolen from us this week. And like the big picture that we're all fighting for. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate it.
Very sorry for that.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for trusting us and sharing that. That's so awful. And again, you know, like it always hit us hard, but it hits even that much harder when someone that you know and then you hear their name on a sad list. That is so heartbreaking. And Rachel, I'm sending you a big virtual hug and the family and everybody. I'm just sending everybody hugs. So remember, live to love to live. We love you all, and we will see you guys again next West Wednesday. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015. My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped. Case number 5. Unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No, why you want to talk to me?
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the gun trace task force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's attorney see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salon vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.